Welcome to Spoken Soul, home of the essential athlete. I'm Terrance, here with Anthony, and today we're going to talk about preparation, but preparation in the sense of, you never know when the opportunity to train presents itself. So, what I like to do is I like to keep a bag in the ride so when the opportunity presents itself, I'm ready. So, I want to first talk about how I came about getting this bag in the car. And I distinctly remember it was one of those runs we all met up, and I can't remember what the location was, but we met up, and you know how we do. We always clowning, and you pulled out this giant bag, and you always had this bag. you had Bazooka Joes in this bag. I mean, you had all kind of stuff in this bag, and we used to clown you for having this bag. But talk to me about your bag game and how all that came about.
Well, I'm gonna set it off with, if I don't do nothing, I'm a ball. I'm going all day like a clock on the wall. Go ahead, little duffel bag ball.
I was
So I'm setting it up like that because I think how the bags came about is that for me anyway was that, listen, bro, when we were training for like the marathon, anything could happen. Like we were doing like all varieties of different trainings. So like and I think you joined us for a couple of them, but there was a couple of them that we were running 9, 10, midnight, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Sometimes we were running in the morning.
yeah, y'all was
And-
crazy for that. The
Excuse me.
midnight runs,
Yes.
I was crazy for that.
So we were out there and anything could happen. Just like that day when we were all out, me, you, Court,
You talking about Monique?
and Monique, and the rain hit. So my thing was anything, like anything can happen on race day, anything can happen on training day. We always jump on the weather app to see what it's gonna be like, but sometimes the math ain't mathing with the with the weather. So for me, that's how it came about and how like different things will come up. Sometimes you get out there and the shoe might not feel the way that it was supposed to feel, or it might be colder, it might be hotter.
Yeah, true.
So for me, it was like I never wanted to have a reason not to be ready. You know what I mean? So for me, that's why that bag came up, where it was like, all right, I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed, so I never had an excuse. to
Yeah,
not
and that
hustle.
and that brings up a point, particularly when we had talked about how, from a scheduling perspective, sometimes it's not easy to fit in
Yep.
when you got to actually train.
Yep.
But when the opportunity presents itself and you're prepared,
Yep.
that makes it much easier,
Yep.
right? So the tri bag. The tri bag. Now I said you had everything in that bag, from Bazooka Joes
Yeah.
to Uncrustables.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what goes into that bag to make sure that you're prepared for whatever it is you need to get or do when you're out there.
So my tri bag is like my super essentials. Like honestly, I could either I could run, bike, or swim out of that bag.
Yeah.
And it originated from once I started doing the triathlons, where it was a race day bag. So like on the days of the triathlons, you got to make sure you have all those things. So like believe it or not, the bag is like, it's a Transformers bag. Like you can zip that joint out. It's waterproof. It has all the stuff you need. So in my bag, I have everything in that bag. Like I have what? I got gouges in there. I got hair ties. I got lotion. I got I got extra sunglasses
Lotion is
in
crazy.
there.
The lotion is crazy.
I got Vaseline in there.
Now listen,
Vaseline is Vaseline.
I'm not talking about the Vaseline. You better not have no baby oil in there.
Nah, I ain't got no Diddy oil in there. I ain't got no Diddy Bop oil in there. No Diddy Bop oil, but I got Vaseline in there. I have I would keep gloves because my phalanges.
Yeah.
I'm about my glove life. So I got about 4 or 5 varieties of gloves in there. I have I got the stretch bands for training. Like sometimes, like so if you feel like on the days if you're really tight, I have
Yep.
that in there. I keep a pair of extra running shoes in there in case when we happen to run out, we happen to go and do whatever we're doing. If I feel like I'm good enough for a run, I pull the bags out of there. You know, I pull those out of there. I keep my helmet in there, obviously. I keep extra socks. I keep a lot of extra running socks because I only wear the toe socks.
Listen, and the funny thing about that is hearing that you keep socks in there is when you're training for when you're training for tries, you don't wear no socks.
Nope, I don't wear no socks. And that's just because it's a timing thing. Because you got more time in transition, so
Yeah.
it adds the time onto it. And sometimes, depending upon the types of socks and how long that triathlon is, if you're wearing socks, it's gonna you're gonna get chafing.
Yeah.
Between your toes, which is why I wear the toe socks.
I'm gonna tell you something. You put me onto those toe socks. Those toe socks. So there was a point in time where I started to get blisters
Yep.
from all the running, but when I switched to those toe socks,
Yep.
them blisters they went right away.
Yep.
So I'm gonna talk about the bag that I keep in my car. And I started keeping the bag after I saw you in there, and I started keeping it tucked away in the back.
Yep.
I got this little loadout
Yep.
in the back, and I was keeping it tucked away in there. And I'm gonna talk about some of the stuff that I keep from a cycling perspective in the bag. And from cycling, there's two bags.
Yep.
There's one that I keep in the car, but then there's the saddle
Yep.
that goes onto the back of the bike. But I'm gonna talk about what I keep in the actual car at all times. I keep I keep my cycling shoes in the bag. And I'm gonna tell you why I keep the cycling shoes in the bag. Because I learned from Jose. Shout out to Jose. Jose used to show up to the rides, and not only would Jose be late,
He'd forget his shoes.
he'd forget his shoes.
I do remember that.
And the challenge with that is, if you're on a road bike with the pedals we use,
Yep.
you can't ride without your shoes.
You're right.
So I make sure I keep a pair of shoes in there, because and I used to rock the old man white joints. Then I switched to the red
ghost.
joints,
The
and now
ghost.
I got the green ones.
Do we name those? I gotta name those.
Nah, I
Those are the
didn't name
green
those.
goblins. That's what we're naming them joints.
I keep an extra kit in there.
Yep.
Always have extra clothes in there,
Yep.
and that's just because sometimes, depending on here's what I found. I'm trying to remember the brand, and I'm not even gonna say the brand because I ain't giving no free shots out. But anyway, I had a kit and I had the shirt,
Yep.
and I put it on, and it was tight, man. The sizing
Yes.
between different brands is different,
Yep.
and it was the first time that I was wearing that, and I ended up saying, "Hey, Scott, you can take this," because
Yep.
it was just squeezing the life out of me. You know what I
Tight
mean?
love, baby.
So
Tight love.
I keep that in there.
Yep.
Arm sleeves.
Yep.
Keep the arm sleeves in there because, again, from a weather perspective, you don't know what you're going to get. And it's funny because from a running perspective, I always say this. I'm undefeated against the elements. But cycling is a different breed.
Whole different. You do say that all the time. And,
Yeah,
and you're
if
absolutely
it's-
right. Absolutely right.
Depending on the weather, I'm
Yep.
going to say this, depends on how much or if I'm going to actually cycle. I'll run in the rain.
Yep.
I'll run in the snow. All that stuff is doable. I think I mentioned this on one show. I remember after that storm that we had in January, the second one,
Yep.
where a whole bunch of stuff shut down.
Yep.
The next day, I was driving to work. I saw two people. They were walking them,
Yeah.
but they were in that snow with their bikes.
Nah. Right, listen,
And it was like 6:30 in the morning.
I feel you on that. And I think the ride bag is important, like what you said. And I agree. In that tri bag, I do have some ride essentials as well. And I actually, now that we're talking, we're back into the season. That's a good segue too, because if you recall, when I came out, I had on one outfit, and
then
then I changed into another
Yo.
one because of my bag. I think I ended
I was
up
about to call you Tyrese.
Yes.
Did you see that? Did you see that versus Tyrese and Tank? Tyrese changed like 10 times.
He said Tyrese. But it was because you had made a great point. And again, the weather shifts. So initially, it said it was going to be this way. Once we got there, we thought it was going to be a certain way. So, it ended up where it was going to warm up faster.
Yeah.
So instead of wearing the tights or whatever, I had the arm sleeves. And I also want to make a good point too, which we should talk about for other runners. For riders, I'm sorry. you need to have that stuff too sometimes for protection. And I didn't mention it, but I was very glad that I ended up having that kit and switched out to the arm sleeves, because I don't know if you recall me slowing down for a little bit during the ride. I had a tick.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I had a tick. I had like 2 ticks on the arm sleeves. So it was actually good that we ended up using those, because that ended up being for protection. So again, keeping those safety things that go in and having it so that, if the ride is going to be warmer or colder, you have that. And it actually, even if you're going to end up going longer too.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the ride and the run are totally different, where, and I'm like you know me, like after it's a certain temperature, nope.
Yeah. Listen, the arm sleeves to me are the most versatile piece of cycling equipment you can actually have. I love them because we tend to ride earlier in the morning and it's cooler in the morning. But as the day progresses, it starts to get warmer. Those arm sleeves are easy enough to pull off, roll up, put them in that back pocket and keep it moving. And from, the difference between running and cycling. So typically if I'm going to run, I'm going to dress like it's going to be 5 to 10 degrees warmer. As opposed to cycling, I do the opposite. Right? Because you factor in that motion, the wind, and all those things.
The wind, and that's tricky.
So the arm sleeves are incredible. The other thing that I keep in there is I also keep, I'm going to call it a cycling scully, because it's not a cap, but it's basically moisture wicking, for lack of a better term, wrap that goes on. Does 2 things. One, it does wick the sweat and it keeps it off my head, but at the same time, the sun coming through the top of the helmet, it gives me a little protection, because I mean, I got the dome up the top. I got to make sure I protect the dome. So I keep those in there. And I'm making a conscious effort to stop saying so much. But additionally, sunglasses. I always keep an extra. And the funny thing is, last week I didn't realize it. I had the wrong sunglasses on because I was using the ones that were in the bag as opposed to the ones, because I switched it up. I think I showed you. I ended up putting the shelf over there where I keep my cycling stuff next to the trainer. I had the wrong sunglasses on. And I realized it too late. But I mean,
no, you're right.
They worked out.
You're absolutely right about that. And I think that when we talk about things and essentials, the sunglasses are very important. Because
they serve 2 purposes.
Yes, they serve. I mean, fashion, of course.
that wasn't one of them.
Functionality is the second one. But listen, I'm not gonna front. Like if I'm out there, and it was all black, we gotta go with the black. If it has some hints of color, and we want it to pop, we throw the white. The white ones with the black.
Truth be told, whether it's cycling or running, there's always a bit of fashion or a bit of swag with the fit. There's always something. There's always thought that goes into it.
Of course, and I think that it's just how we do. I always tell people, I mean, if I'm gonna be out there, I mean, I gotta look good. What I mean? I gotta stay photograph ready. And I think one of the other things that we should talk a little bit about is the cycling cups. As far as our like those the water bottles that we use are important too. And shout out to Court with those metal bangers that almost killed us.
Piece of advice: if you're just getting into cycling and you go and you get your water bottles, don't get the metal ones. I don't know. I had never seen.
Yeah, I never saw those either.
Metal water bottles. First off, I think they weighed like 5 pounds each.
You hear them hit the banger, bang!
Yeah, and when they fell out of the rack and it hit the concrete, I'm like, man, I thought Court fell and hit his head.
That was like ringing a bell.
So here's a good reason to keep the water bottles in a bag in the car, because, well, it's a double-edged sword. I like keeping them in the car. I typically put them in there or in the bag the night before, because what that does is it forces me to make sure that I got I'm not forgetting whatever I'm using from a hydration perspective, right? I've actually been in situations where the night before, rather than have the bottles in the car and keeping the hydration in the fridge, I put the hydration, whether it be, what is it?
Tailwind, baby. Tailwind.
Whether it's
can we get
Tailwind
an
or
endorsement,
Gatorade or
baby?
water. I made the mistake of putting the Tailwind into the actual water bottle and putting it in the refrigerator in the garage and then getting in the car and taking off.
Yeah.
Because
That talks about,
I forgot about it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And so I ended up having to come back. But you want to be careful. You want to, if you're putting the water bottles in the car, make sure that you put something in them before you get out there. But if you do get out there and you don't have nothing, I always keep, that's the other thing. I don't keep it in the bag. I'm going to talk about what I keep in the saddle in a second. But there's one thing that I want to get to before I get to the saddle bag, and that's the gloves.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Listen,
The gloves. And I keep two kind.
Oh, okay.
I keep the cutoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I keep the light full finger ones because, again, if there's a chance that it might rain, I like having those to cover the full tips of actual fingers until I can get out of the rain as quick as possible.
Listen, you know you ain't gotta even ask me. I'm I'm endorsing that because I'm all about the gloves, man. I am all about the gloves, but I agree, and I know some riders don't ride with gloves. I like them because at least I can grip.
Yeah.
I can get a good grip, especially, and for me, especially because I'm not, I struggle on the climb. So like the on the straightaways, I don't really have a problem with that, but I tend to like really try to grip when I'm pulling to try to climb up whatever that climb is. So for me, the gloves really help at that particular point. And I hate when if my hands or my feet get cold on the ride, it's a wrap for me. It's a wrap.
Here's why I like the gloves so much. You crash, you fall, your hand's going down.
You're absolutely right about
that. Protection for the palm is crucial because if you rip that up, it's going to be very difficult to hold on to those bars to continue that ride.
Yeah, and running too. I mean, a funny story is about a couple of weeks ago, Court and I were running, and he was climbing. He's like, "Oh man, why are you wearing those gloves?" I was like, "Oh man, it's kind of cool." And I have my gloves on. I
know why he said that though.
Yeah, no, I fell, and the gloves, like you said, I mean, it braced the fall.
Protection.
So, and again, I think also from just a standpoint of where certain parts of your body, if they warm up, it helps to warm the rest of the body up. And for me, like I never really have a problem with my legs or my core staying warm. It's like my hands and my feet are like the hardest thing for me to regulate. So that's why like I'm a big fan of the gloves.
All right, so let's talk about the saddlebag. The saddlebag is that little bag that actually goes on the back.
Yeah.
And excuse me, from equipment perspective, there are some things that I would normally keep in the bag, but I take them out from time to time from a cycling perspective because they need juice.
Yeah.
And they don't go in a saddlebag, and I'm talking about bike computer, lights, things like that. But in the saddlebag, very important, I'm going to tell you what I keep in there. First and foremost, a multi-tool.
Yeah.
So stuff pops off, I got whatever tool I need to try to fix whatever the situation is. Although from a tire perspective, typically my tires actually have the little tool that's built into it that you can pull out and turn the spool. But the multi-tool is very important. I run tubeless. So I keep, I'm going to get to what you're thinking about, but I keep a patch right in there. I have this little kit that has, for lack of a better term, they're called bacon strips, right?
Yeah.
So if you get a puncture, there's a tool that you can use to plug that up until you can get to a point where the tire can get repaired. That's if the sealant doesn't actually seal itself. I also keep 2 CO2s along with the dispenser in the saddlebag. Now, as of the end of last season, maybe the middle of last season, I also started carrying an inner tube, not just in the saddlebag, but in the back of my actual shirt. And the reason for that is, as you know, that one particular ride, again, I'm running tubeless.
Yeah.
I got not just one, but two
Yeah.
flats. And the CO2 was the tires. And at that time, I don't know why, it did make the bike feel so much faster, but I was running racing tires on the bike at that time, and that road was horrible. And I hit one pothole with both tires.
I remember that, yep.
With both tires. And if Chicken, I'm gonna give a shout out to Chicken and John Gambino, if they were not there with those inner tubes, I would have to call an actual Uber, because the inner tubes actually helped me out. And so now I keep those inner tubes. And if you remember, we were doing this ride and we came across Nico.
Nico, yeah.
And Nico was running tubeless.
We went through, I remember that day too. We went through at least 4 CO2s.
Yeah.
Like we were going through those.
Yeah.
It was amazing that we got through it.
Nico was running tubeless.
Yep.
He caught a flat. It didn't seal.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I ended up having a inner tube,
Yeah.
and I used that inner tube to fix his flat. So that's what I keep in the saddlebag. And I think I think it's important for me at least to mention that bag, or being a bag boy,
Yeah.
it does a lot for my mental health.
Oh,
And when I say mental
agree.
health, what I mean is, from a prepared perspective, it's something that I don't have to think about, because if I keep that bag stocked,
Yep.
if an opportunity presents itself, I know
No,
I'm
you're
ready.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a peace of mind, and I think there's some honorable mentions that we should have put on that list.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, we keep about we keep like $20-$25 bill in that bag too. So we keep that, because in case we gotta roll off, and we gotta hit the store and get that Dr. Pepper or Coke hit.
Yeah, but so here's what I started doing. I used to keep that in the saddlebag.
Yeah.
But I moved it to the zipper pocket, and
Oh,
I'll tell
okay.
you why.
Okay.
Because I opened the saddlebag once,
Yeah.
and that money came out.
Oh, okay.
Because the one that I have two, some of the saddlebags have a little slot at the top.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I
of.
don't believe mine has that
Okay.
slot at the top.
Yep, because that's where I put my I put a $25 bill right there.
Yeah. Well,
But that's
you put $25. If you got a $25 bill,
mean,
you listen. You got a counterfeit ring running?
Nah,
I ain't trying to incriminate you or
I
nothing.
ain't trying to incriminate me. We'll take that offline, but keep that there. A couple other things. I may keep. Sometimes I'll keep my key, depending upon like how if what kind of kit I have. I'll put that there depending on that too. But again, you covered all those things, and it is a peace of mind. And on top of the saddlebag, like you said, a couple of things that I carry, and experience is the best teacher.
Yes.
I'm still mad I didn't get my 100. When I think we were at that, it was at the 100th, the honorary ride for Jose and
Yeah, the flat. It was the
and
flattest century.
the flattest 100 or the flattest century. And I caught that, and even now for me, like you said, like for preparation, for peace of mind, not only did I catch a flat, but the tire blew too. So
Yeah.
I couldn't even repair it. So for me, it depends on the rides as well. Like if we go anything over 50, I got the extra tire. You'll see me with that little black bag strapped around. Listen, I got two tires in there just because. Like
Yeah.
I don't never want to get caught out there again.
No, I remember you started carrying the tire. I'm like, a tire, man? I'm like, a tire?
Listen. I mean, on those long rides, and especially because we go everywhere.
Yeah.
So to me, I never want to get caught out there, or I have to put, again, it's a convenience for everyone, because if the rider's got to come back, you came back to get me, you had to go, come back, then I had to see all these people that were harassing me in between then.
That day was crazy, man, because you have to keep this in mind. So I have exercise-induced anaphylaxis. That means I can't eat anything during a ride or a run. And so I rode that century on nothing but fluids. Yeah. I was starving. And I was like, I got to go get Ant. But I got to, if you remember, I went and I grabbed some honey
Honey
buns.
buns, yeah. I do remember
I was
that.
like, yo,
Them-
listen,
them honey buns
I
was
gotta get
knocking.
something to eat. I ain't got no fuel. I had to
Those-
grab me some honey buns.
Those honey buns was knocking.
Yeah, I used to keep my key in the saddlebag too. But then again, like I said, once, and I think part of it is the way some of them actually open. And I think the saddlebags that I use, I think I tend to use the smaller ones because I have the Varia light on the back that has the actual video recording on it. So depending on which bike it is, like the red joint, for one reason or another, I'm forgetting the actual name of it. The frame is more aggressive it's not rounded, right?
No.
So from an aero perspective, it's more aggressive. So the way that bag attaches, I have to use a smaller bag. And I just didn't want to worry about, the stuff falling out. So now I make sure that every kit that I'm actually rocking with has a zipper, and I keep the cash and the key in there.
No, and I think too, the point we should make is some of the new bikes are off the chain in terms of they have
your
the
joint.
actual the 3 times black has
the compartment
has
on
a little compartment on it,
which
has
I
all the
think is
stuff in there.
phenomenal, man.
It is, which frees up some things in there. So it has like the whole little tool kit, with the CO2 and all that, like built right in, which is cool.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot the Madone.
Madone,
I forgot the name of the Madone. So the Madone has that aero design, and so I can't keep. The way that the bag attaches, actually, and the way that the Varia attaches is a little different. Whereas the Amanda, it's very easy to actually attach that to it. So.
And the Amanda is my favorite bike, by the way. I love that.
I'm gonna tell you this:
I love that. That's my favorite bike.
When I put the racing tires on that Amanda, I felt that Amanda with those racing tires was much faster than the Madone.
I definitely agree because.
And I will say this: it definitely was the tires because when those tires blew, and I put regular tires on it, it was not faster than the Madone, which is more aero for speed. What I should do is I should put some racing tires on the Madone and then see how that actually feels.
I like to see that. That'd be nice. Let's see what the comparison would be.
Yeah. But in short and in closing, at the end of the day, having those bags provide you with 2 things. One, it's going to provide you with a peace of mind. Second, again, when you're trying to balance work, family, and training, being prepared only makes all that a little easier for you.
Much easier.
So by having that bag, it provides you the opportunity to have a little bit less stress and allows you to be prepared for almost any situation, assuming if you're going to be cycling, you got the bike in the back.
Yeah.
But from a running perspective, you can pop off and do a run. And in your case, with those bands, you can be out there in the park doing whatever it is you need to do with those bands at any point in time.
And less excuses, too. I think a lot of times, from people who want to exercise, always an excuse. I don't got this, I don't got that. I mean, if it's all there, like you don't have an excuse not to. It becomes a will thing, and not really. I'm not prepared. It's like you got everything there, so you have no reason not to. Like you said, unless it's the elements. I mean, now if it's the rain, then I don't ride in the rain. So if it's raining, then it's a wrap.
So from a preparedness perspective, from the ability to have less stress from a mental perspective, get yourself a bag, keep that bag in your trunk, and make sure you got all the essentials that you need in there. Till next time, keep those wheels turning, those feet moving. We'll see you on the road.